Some of you were present yesterday, so I will repeat maybe something, but please accept my apologies if I'm repeating something, but that's it. I tried to do, it's moving well, it's fun. I'm trying to do this presentation in a way that I will do a presentation about what are the lessons learned from Estonia, and when we go for the plan or the ideas, how we can utilize those ideas in the Caribbean joint information space. And I hope we have also before the lunch room for the questions. Who knows actually when the lunch starts, when I need to stop? Do you know? Half hour? Okay. 12:30. Okay, great. So stay hungry. Okay, let's start then. Oops. Okay, about me, it was already presented. This is Estonia. This is North Europe, and the countries we are living is small. We are surrounded by the Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden, Baltic country, Latvia, and Eastern country, Russia. So it puts us to kind of special conditions, also politically. And but the life in Estonia is pretty good. We have a small population. I have been always thinking that Estonia is a very small country, but when learning more about Caribbeans, I understand that we are a huge country. But anyway, I think we are very much relevant to Caribbean states because the size of Estonia, what is 35,000 square kilometers, and the population 1.2 million people is still pretty relevant for this region also. We are, as a number of population, we are decreasing because our birth rate is low, because the climate is bad. And I don't know how it's related, but it looks like in the way. Probably people like to stay at home just, or go for the work, what is even worse habit. So, and the capital city Tallinn is 430,000 residents, but the bigger Tallinn area is like around 500,000 people, so it's a very urbanized country also. A couple of words about e-Governance Academy. We are an independent non-profit organization, and our mission is to develop and share the e-government knowledge based on Estonia, but also the best global knowledge. And it's not visible that much, but we have been working already with more than 60 governments globally, and trained more than 3,500 government officials globally. And we are small but permanent staff. We have like 25 persons working, but we are using wide pool of international experts, more than 100 international experts, all of them having practical e-government experience. So we may ask also that why we are talking about e-governance, not that much about e-government. But this is a very fundamental issue that I think we need to put together e-government, what is usually like a technical implementation of public services, but also the legislation and democracy issues around it. We need to consider like online democracy issues. So putting together political processes and technical implementations and legislation around it, we can discuss about e-governance more than about e-government. But now to a topic. World Bank Global Digital Dividends Report from 2016 provides us a really great narrative. It says that to be successful in e-governance implementation, we need to consider both digital and analog elements. And if you consider digital element like more like technology element, what are here listed in the right column, they are definitely very important. This is like digital databases, interoperability of data and services, digital identity, document exchange, security, service portal, and so on. This is all very important. But what the report says that if analog parts like legislation and regulations, sustainable organization behind the governance, change management and political will is missing, nothing is happening. You may have a bright technology in place, you have maybe made already hundreds of thousands or $1 million investments to the technology, but if there is no support from the political leaders, if there is no changes in the governance processes, if the legislation is not supportive, nothing is happening. So there should be a balanced approach towards those issues, and I go through those topics later in my presentation. This is one of the first pictures of Estonians. It is made like 120 years ago. And those our ancestors, I think, those who lived there already like 5,000 years ago, they made a great mistake that they stayed there. They didn't move to Caribbeans. So we still need to live in the snowing conditions, what is usually raining conditions around the 0°C, and it's not very convenient. But this is one of the first pictures, and this is typical Estonian family having lovely chat around the dinner. Estonians are not very talkative. There are several exceptions, but usually they are not very talkative. You know who invented SMS service? Those were Finns. They are our northern neighbors. They are even less talkative than we are. But we invented Skype because we do not want, when we are talking to each other, we don't want to look at the eyes of others, and we just like to send written messages. So I have another picture about the Estonian family. It is a remake of this picture. It's, again, Estonian family having dinner and chatting through Skype or Facebook Messenger or something like it. And not that much has changed, actually. So you have lucky, better situation in Caribbeans. I think you are much more communicative and talkative in personal skills. So now the question is how to turn it to e-government solutions also. But thinking back now, what is actually the main problem in the e-government service or governmental services, public services delivery, is that whatever the citizen or businessman need to get from a government, it's typically kind of certificate to start the business or build the house or something like it. It is usual process that this poor citizen or businessman must visit endless number of government entities to get kind of proofs that I am I, this is my house, this is my land, this is my car, this is my dog, and to get those certificates, to put it in one file and provide it to another government official. And actually those certificates or proofs what you are collecting from various government institutions are just outprints of from a database data. It is recorded in the property registry that Mr. Hannes Astok owned this house. So it's kind of another outprint of this database. Many governments are trying to put their services, to provide the services through a one-stop shop, what means that citizen, yes, must visit government office once or twice, once to submit the application form, and second time to come back and collect this certificate or permit or whatever is issued. And the government officials are running and collecting all the necessary data. What is definitely already much better situation for the citizens, but it's still not very efficient situation for the government. So we think in Estonia that we can automate a lot of things, meaning that it should be more or less self-service for the citizens or businesses. So for what we need a strong digital identity for the citizen, so we can understand actually who is the person who is asking for this service. We need good digital data, what is put online in secure manner, and we need high quality digital data. So we must be sure that the data what is in our registries is really actual, any point when we are using it. And it is accessible, but it's protected also, but no one can compromise it. And to put it together, we definitely need a portal and secure data exchange system. So if those elements are in place, we can already build up endless number of public services that are accessible online for the citizens and businesses. And we just calculated a little bit how much time it takes to get one or another service physically. To establish company, online takes around 30 minutes, usually even less. But if you need to run or you select the option to visit the physical offices, it will take you more than 1 day. And actually, if calculating time, when you need to run from one office or drive from one office to another, it takes you a couple of days. So it is not very efficient. It is costly for the customer, and definitely all the paperwork is not very efficient for the government officials also. So now, if we can go through the key digital elements, let's take a little bit look how we are operating with those elements in Estonia and what is our approach. So the key digital elements are digital databases, interoperability or secure data exchange solution. It's about digital identity, digital documents exchange, services portal, cybersecurity, and also sectorial solutions. So the databases. If the data is in this format, what are actual pictures from one country, not in a region, but this is their population registry. So there are just piles of papers somewhere in warehouse. And we can all understand that if we have the data in this quality, no machine cannot read it. It is not accessible. It might be manually accessible, but not for the computers. So we need to digitize the data first of all and make sure that it is working well. And I know many governments are already doing this process, and many governments have been successful already by digitizing the data of the citizens, of the properties, of the businesses, of the vehicles, and so on. So, but this is the work what we can start in each and every country now. We don't need to wait whatever the sophisticated systems and interoperability solution and digital identities appears, but this is the work what we can start in each and every country with key registries immediately and now. And especially in this region, when we have pretty small countries, this work doesn't take that long, but it should be done. And what we did in Estonia, as we started also our registries 25 years or 27 years ago, from the zero, from the scratches, we started to capture the data, the new data immediately in digital format. So every new birth, every new marriage, every new death was registered in the digital format, and we were going back in history by scanning historical documents and taking them to a registry also historically, step by step. And if there was a new query about the historical record of marriage, let's say, before we were giving for the citizen this information, we were also digitizing it immediately. So it takes several years, but now we can be proud that our registers are really in good shape and the data is captured only in digital format. And also the documents we are issuing for the citizens are actually really the outprints of databases. So if I'm getting married, I'm married, I do not planning to repeat this process. It has been already great experience for me. So I do not plan to renew this plan, this subscription plan, as the telecom says. But let's say if somebody is getting married, they are just actual data is in the citizens registry about the marriage, and you're actually getting only outprint of this from this registry. So, and it was actually a complaint from the citizens that earlier they were getting a nice marriage certificate. What was the document? Now we are getting like outprint A4 that yes, married, John and May are married, gone. So. So it was, but this was more or less emotional issue, not actually a real issue. So the digital data is really important. And what is important in this case, and what we also put in the laws, that we can store only one type of data only in one registry, and all others government institution must use the data from another registry. So if I'm, let's say my property is registered, okay, let's say my home address, what is my official home address, is registered only in the citizens registry, that collects also my home address. Any other government institution who deals with me, is it the medical database? Is it vehicles database? They cannot record my home address anymore. They just have my digital identity number, or my, it's not digital identity, just identity number, and based on it, if they need my home address, they must make a query to the citizens registry or population registry, and they are getting my home address. So it's not in the way anymore that everyone is recording the same data again and again and again, and nobody actually knows what is the correct data about me. So this kind of principle, what we call in European Union, once only principle, is actually very valuable, but definitely to implement it, we need also good and secure data exchange to make it actually happen. The governmental interoperability and data exchange is the next point. And in this picture, what you hardly can see is the actual connections between the ministries and agencies in Estonia for the services. So the green dots are ministries and agencies, and black lines are the connections between them because of various public services and information queries. So we can understand that if all those data connections and data queries are made one by one, with not systematic and harmonized manner, it will end up with this kind of mess, what we call spaghetti connections. Not because we do not love Italians, but it's like, just looks like a pasta plate, because just visual imagination. So we need to organize it somehow. If we are making it really like one-to-one, every organization is dealing with the other one based on their best knowledge and based on individual contracts between the ministries, it will end up in the mess. So that's why in Estonia we developed 15 years ago a secure data exchange solution, what we call X-Road or Crossroad, allowing securely exchange the data between the agencies, ministries, and other institutions. So currently it connects all the public organizations. It connects and provides data for more than 1,500 services, and it makes more than 350 million transactions per year. So you may ask that why this number of transactions is so high. We have only 1.2 million people, so why we are asking every year like 300 times about every citizen data or something like it? And what are the services? Let me give you an example what we can do with this system. Every month, our pension authority pays out pensions, social subsidies, and whatever more subsidies for more than 500,000 people. It's pensioners, it's kids, it's people with disabilities, so it is around 500,000 people. And the only one question what pension authority is having before paying out the subsidies and pension is what? What is the question what they must ask before paying out all those money? Are they alive? Exactly. The only question, are those persons alive, or are they still living in Estonia? This is another option. So what do they do? The pension authority sends, I think it's every month, the first day of a month, because they pay out the pensions on 5th day of a month. They are sending a massive query to the population registry and asking about all those 500,000 people, just a question, alive or not, living in Estonia, not, and getting answers. And this helps them to filtrate out all those people who are passed away. Because the population registry, as the only source about the citizens, must have this information. And you can understand that if you are paying out the pension for the people's family who has passed away, to get this money back from them later, like mission impossible. It is cheaper for you not to ask. Because if you start the process to get back, let's say, I don't know, $200 from the family, it will cost you $500 anyway, all this process. So it's, but in this way, and let's say we are paying out 500,000 subsidies and pensions every month. And let's say, just to make a calculation easier, that it is $100 per person, and we are making 1,000 mistake per month. What is, as a percentage, very small. But this means that we can basically save $100,000 per month just not paying money out in the wrong way. And this is, and let's say, to build up this kind of interoperability system will cost you, let's say, $2 million. So it's like paying back very rapidly.